Bonjour et bienvenue à la troisième exposition de l'année scolaire 2015-2016. Les élèves du 8e niveau ont étudié l'actualité dans leur classe d'études globales. Ils ont peint les portraits du pop-art en dessin. Ils ont construit des montagnes russes en sciences. En français et en espagnol, les élèves ont choisi de créer des projets personnels en utilisant plusieurs thèmes de classe. Ils ont appris 2 chansons pour chanter à la remise de diplômes en musique. Les élèves du 7e niveau ont étudié la probabilité dans la classe de maths. Ils ont fait un projet sur le tournoi de basket March Madness. Ils ont étudié la durabilité écologique aussi. Ils ont créé des petits films sur les livres en anglais. Ils ont étudié les parcs nationaux en études globales et en art. Ils ont étudié les sports et les passe-temps en français et en espagnol et ils ont fait de la recherche sur un professionnel francophone ou hispanique. Les élèves du 6e niveau ont créé des petites voitures solaires en maths et en sciences. Ils ont appris les rythmes en musique et en éducation physique. Ils ont étudié les fêtes et leur histoire en français et en espagnol.
Hello, and welcome to the third exhibition of the 2015 to 2016 school year. The 8th grade students studied current events in their global studies class. They painted pop art portraits in art. They built roller coasters in science. In French and Spanish, the students chose to create personal projects using many topics from class. They learned 2 songs to sing at graduation in music. The 7th grade students studied probability in math class. They did a project about the March Madness tournament. They studied environmental sustainability. Also, they created film trailers about books in ELA. They studied national parks in global studies and in art. They studied sports and hobbies in French and Spanish. And they did research about a French or Hispanic professional. The 6th grade students created solar cars in math and science. They learned stop rhythms in music and gym. They studied holidays and the history behind them in French and Spanish.
Asimismo, ellos han creado videos de campañas en oposición o en favor a impuestos y reglas impuestas a las colonias de Inglaterra. Postos creativos sobre libros leídos de la Guerra de Revolución y panfletos de viajes sobre lugares relacionados a la Guerra de Revolución en Marblehead. Además, ustedes verán hermosos dibujos de pájaros en sus hábitats y máscaras de arcilla de tribus americanas y africanas. En quinto grado, ustedes disfrutarán de ensayos de investigación sobre exploradores y presentaciones sobre la era de exploración. Hermosas impresiones de tulipanes, instrumentos musicales de cuatro teclas y escucharán canciones sobre la exploración. Asimismo, ustedes verán interesantes cadenas alimenticias de animales y varios tridimensionales con rutas escritas en idioma extranjero. Finalmente, ustedes disfrutarán maravillosos cuentos destinados por nuestros talentosos arquitectos e ingenieros de cuarto grado, postes sobre dioses griegos en idioma extranjero, ilustraciones de libros, ensayos e interesantes, actuaciones sobre la mitología griega. Espero que disfruten todos estos increíbles proyectos creados con mucho esfuerzo y que representan el conocimiento aprendido este último trimestre. Muchas gracias por su presencia.
Likewise, sixth graders have created campaign videos either in support of or in opposition of various taxes and laws imposed on the colonies by England, creative posters about books read from the Revolutionary War, and travel pamphlets about Revolutionary era sites in Marblehead. Also, you will see beautiful bird drawings in their habitats and clay masks from American and African tribes. In fifth grade, you will enjoy research essays and presentations about explorers from the age of exploration, beautiful prints of tulips, four-string musical instruments, and you will listen to composed explorer songs. In addition, you will see interesting animal food chains and 3D neighborhood maps with routes written in foreign language. Finally, you will see wonderful bridges designed by our talented fourth grade engineers and architects, posters about Greek gods in foreign language, book illustrations, essays, and interesting performances about Greek mythology. We hope you all enjoy the projects the incredible students have created with big effort that represent deep knowledge from this last trimester. Thank you all for your presence.
Welcome everyone. Tonight, our final exhibition of the year will be all about the 8th graders. The opening ceremonies, The opening ceremonies will be all about the 8th graders. And before we move into them sharing their projects with you, we're going to hear from Robin Wyndham from our Navigator Community Association. Thank you. Yeah, round of applause.
Hello. As Nina stated, I'm Robin and I'm on the NCA board this year. We have had such a successful year. It's really exciting, and we've all enjoyed working with all of you to make it so. The NCA this year raised more money this year than we ever have before. We were able, with all of your help, to raise $50,000. All of these funds go directly to enrich the education of the students and to provide better tools for them and for the teachers. We funded many, many great things this year. An email was sent out a few weeks ago to many of you, all of the parents, to let you know just what we've spent money on. If you didn't see that, you can go out to the NCA website and see those allocations. While the NCA board plans and oversees most of the activities, most of the events that we do. Oh, excuse me, I did want to mention, I'm skipping around, but I wanted to mention that these funds came from, where the funds came from. They came from the Student Activity Fund, and this year we had 80% participation in that fund, which is greater than we've had in a year. We also had donations. We raised a little money from dances. We had the Box Tots for Education, the Mixed Bags fundraiser, the Spiritware, the restaurant fundraisers, including Uno and Panera and Orange Leaf and the Crazy Candy Lady and such as that, and a spaghetti dinner. So the NCA board is here to plan and oversee most of these events that we have, and our success though would not happen without the support and volunteers that we have right here in this room. So it's because of each and every one of you that this year was so very successful. So we thank you all for such an amazing year. We would ask too that you would please consider ways that you would like to contribute next year and to continue your support. We also want to recognize and thank our teacher liaison, Katie Souza. Can you come forward? We would not have been nearly as successful and cohesive a group if it had not been for her, and she is going to be greatly, greatly missed next year. So thank you, Katie. We have decided through much feedback that we are actually going to change our name back from the NCA to the PTO, our more traditional name, Parent Teacher Organization. And we are looking for additional parents to serve on the 2016-2017 PTO board, since several of our current board members will be focusing their efforts in other areas of the school. So please let us know if anyone's interested. You can find job descriptions and all of the current NCA board members' contact information on our website. Thank you.
The NCA, newly redubbed the PTO, has been instrumental in supporting us. So how about another big round of applause for them? You've heard it said that the proof of the pudding is in the eating. And so tonight you're going to sample a little bit of what our 8th graders accomplished after some of them 2, most of them 5 years with us. So now I'm going to welcome up Liz and Max Lewis, who are going to introduce the first projects. Round of applause for them, please.
This trimester, the 8th grade used the engineering and design process to build roller coasters as a culmination to our study of physics. Our roller coasters display potential energy, kinetic energy, average speed, slope, and more. Strong teamwork was essential as we negotiated decisions and encountered challenges in our designs.
We teens are nothing if not opinionated. In humanities class, we have formalized our love to debate by choosing a topic of interest and creating an argument based on facts from research. Come to 8H to read our thesis papers and be convinced. You'll hear a preview of topics by 2 students now, but stay behind after opening ceremonies to hear the remaining hooks to our arguments. Sharing the hooks now are Gavin Snook and Haley Lemieux.
Lead, uranium, mercury, ethylene glycol, formaldehyde. These are some of the chemicals that go into our drinking water as a result of fracking. Hydraulic fracturing, or fracking, is a technique used to get gas and oil from shale rock. Around the world, the question of whether fracking should be used is hotly debated. I think that fracking should not be used.
School sports are extremely beneficial to teens' health. By participating in school sports, students develop cognitive skills that enhance learning as well as community involvement. Many schools, public and private, are considering eliminating school sports teams as well as their programs because they believe that they take away from academics and that students start participating and doing as well in their classes. I believe that school sports should not be eliminated.
opinionated team. So stick around to find out about their very strong opinions about these things that they have researched. Next, Ainsley Perkins will introduce the Peace Poems. This was a project that was done in partnership with the Marblehead Peace Coalition and the Veterans Public School. Ainsley?
Each year, 8th graders from Marblehead Charter and Veterans Middle School are joined together by the Marblehead Peace Coalition to celebrate peace through poetry. Here are 2 poems from this event. Our readers today are Jenna Siegel and Tyler Rhodes.
You and I are not so different as I am, by Jenna Siegel. You and I are not so different. Though our skin color is not the same, each one of us shares the love of running and dancing. You and I are not so unlike each other. Though you came from Latin America and I from Africa, we agree that family and friends are key to our happiness and well-being. You and I are not so distant. Though we call our gods different names, but we believe, you and I, in the goodness of humankind. You and I are not so separated. Though our culture and traditions are dissimilar, we share the same hopes and dreams to live in a world where everyone is equal, as we wish peace to each and every one. You and I are in agreement. We look at the world we live in as a special place where war, no hatred, have no place in it.
What is peace? Peace is the joy one receives when the shackles are torn away, when the camps are demolished and the people are freed, and the ray of hope shines on you and me. Peace is the glue that keeps the world together. Peace is an ideal that we can share forever. Even at the darkest moments of this country's history, how it hasn't been obsolete is still a mystery. So as we celebrate all the peace, joy, and happiness around the world, maybe we can share of it with every other boy and every other girl.
Next, Josh Francoeur will introduce the graduation speeches.
As a final reflection of our charter experience, every 8th grader wrote a graduation speech. In these speeches, students elaborate on the highlights of their charter experience and recount the learning that will resonate with them as they prepare to become high school students. Reading their speeches tonight are Ian McRae and Liz Babcock. You can read the rest of these speeches in 8H.
It is not the strongest of species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most responsive to change. The immortal words of Charles Darwin have made me realize that evolution, which I have always enjoyed learning about, can be applied to more than just science. Throughout my career at Marblehead Community Charter Public School, I have learned that being strong or smart isn't enough. One must be able to change, to adapt to one's surroundings to succeed in school. From 4th to 8th grade, I have had to adapt to my surroundings to succeed in each grade. In 4th grade, I was taken from a fish pond and thrown into the ocean, where I knew nothing about my environment. Charter was nothing like elementary school. There were these strange predators called mad meetings and this great beast called exhibition, which visited 3 times a year. There were these times called enrichments, whatever those were, and I found myself making one blunder after another, forgetting cleanup crew one week and missing my map goal the next. However, with each mistake I adapted, and soon I was building bridges and managing funds, learning how to manage my money and work as a team, and beginning a long journey to evolve this strange thing called cooperation. During 5th grade, there were many new changes to my environment. I had to learn to appease these new strict teachers and to always answer, so what? To survive, I had to learn about the mistakes of the medieval past and what the masters of the Renaissance accomplished. While I learned about the past, I also attempted to build a machine with 3 other partners. I was confident that 4th grade had given the characteristics I needed to succeed in building this strange contraption. However, building a bridge, only a bridge, did not evolve my skills enough, so as expected, the machine fell apart. Together we learned that failure is the greatest teacher. I learned that cooperation needs yet another adaptation to succeed that I lacked: communication. In 6th grade, I started to evolve communication through the strange new environment called Nature's Classroom. In it, we had to work together and build trust. We weighed our waste food, learned about food cycles, and cooperated in low ropes courses to succeed in our new environment. Together, we adapted to this strange new place in less than a week and even enjoyed ourselves. I learned how to deal with people and collaborate in projects outside of school. Then, back to school again. In 6th grade, I adapted the basics of communication, but it would be put to the test in the 7th. 7th grade was a new, exciting, and challenging change to the school environment. One where I had to adapt to become an upperclassman, with all sorts of new behaviors that were expected to me. I performed in a play, which was new to me. However, I naturally adapted, and it was a valuable lesson about how communication is needed to succeed, because without it, there would be no play. However, my biggest challenge came with Project Adventure. In it, we had to evolve a higher level of communication to do anything, but the biggest challenge to overcome was the high ropes course. We were suspended by nothing but our classmates, and this definitely gave us the incentive we needed to utilize communication. That year, I was taught that I could actually rely on my classmates. We evolved communication and proved that we had what we needed for the 8th grade. In my final year at Charter, my communication was put to the test and by far the biggest change in my environment. Many of my projects required teamwork, as well as communication. I adapted to these new projects, and some of them had few restrictions, which needed many new adaptations and proper timekeeping. By far the most influential part of my evolution during 8th grade was the Washington, D.C. trip, which was a test of patience, focus, and cooperation. It was challenging since I, a solitary person, was never alone for a good part of the week. Put to the test my ability to deal with people, and I succeeded without hurting anyone, a lot, which effectively was my final adaptation at charter school. Looking ahead, I see the need to be able to cooperate through the rest of my life, but first I should thank all the students and staff for helping me through this time. I would like to thank my parents for always being there for me and pushing me to try harder and always go for the extra credit. I would like to thank Miss O'Dwyer and Miss Miller for helping me learn that history can be interesting and strict does not necessarily mean bad. Necessarily. I would like to thank Mr. Sullivan for understanding that just because a machine doesn't work does not mean it is a failure. I would like to thank Miss Wright for introducing me to theater and common sense. I would like to thank Miss Nunez and Miss L's lunch group for cheering me up on my worst Fridays. My classmates have been incredibly helpful by dealing with me at my most trying and sarcastic times, most of the time. Finally, I would like to thank Miss Colin Hamza for making this whole experience possible through leading the school in such an exemplary manner. As I proceed through life, I will always remember Charter as the place I grew and evolved the most, and the reason I learned so much.
Declared that life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And this applies directly to my 5-year experience at Marblehead Community Charter Public School. MCCPS brought many surprises and I never knew what to expect. I was first awarded my box of chocolates after 3rd grade, when my mom told me I was accepted to the charter school. I was thrilled to have a fresh start at a new school, but was hesitant to open the box. I was afraid to leave the comfort of elementary school and face the adventures of charter. When I stood in line with my new classmates on the first day of 4th grade, I lifted the lid to my box of chocolates. As I looked about, I couldn't recognize most of the faces. But when the bridge project came along, I eagerly opened the box and took the first chocolate. I enjoyed the project as the group's accountant, for I was responsible for our group's budget. The bridge project made math fun for me because I learned how to use it in different situations, and it sparked my interest in the subject. As I became more comfortable with my peers, I gladly discarded the covers of my box, ready to face the many surprises middle school would bring. 5th grade was one of my best years at Charter, academically, because I absorbed a lot of information when Miss Miller and Miss O'Dwyer forced me to take more chocolate from my box. Dressing up for the Middle Ages and Renaissance was definitely new to me, but I enjoyed creating costumes and making signs and artifacts. During 5th grade, Miss O'Dwyer and Miss Miller scared me into doing my best. Looking back, their high expectations paid off, because I learned to go above and beyond. The machine project, however, was the highlight of that year because I was able to responsibly run around with saws and drills to somehow make a Rube Goldberg-based machine. This set of chocolates gave me a taste of creative work and hands-on projects. 6th grade started out smoothly. I finally had friends and was ready to discover the variety of chocolates in the box. I was pleasantly surprised when the box brought Nature's Classroom. During this week of living in cabins and dissecting eyeballs, yes, eyeballs, I learned to step out of my comfort zone and become familiar with my peers. One of my greatest memories was created at Nature's Classroom, when my entire cabin decided to run around in the rain. We danced, laughed, and had a great time, especially when Peyton decided to take a bath in a puddle. When we returned from Nature's Classroom, my box stopped throwing sweet surprises at me. When we began the solar card project, I found out that most of my friends were switching schools after 6th grade. I was devastated and began to be afraid of what I would pick from the box next. With the help of Miss Hale and Mr. Blakeney, I completed 6th grade, but I really wanted to close the box of chocolates labeled MCCPS and move schools along with the rest of my friends. However, my parents convinced me to stay at charter, which was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. When 7th grade began, I was immediately accepted into a group of wonderful girls who soon became some of my closest friends. Along with my friends who had been at charter just as long as I had, I was introduced to the new students who had just joined. I remember on the first day of 7th grade, my friends and I invited the new girl to join us at recess. I tried to make conversation, so I asked her what her hobbies were. She replied with, "Oh, I play the piano," and we instantly clicked. That girl was Leah, and she is now one of my best friends. My box of chocolates pleasantly surprised me with a wonderful beginning to my 7th grade after a rocky summer. Performing Romeo and Juliet definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone. Next, my box of chocolates sent me to Project Adventure. There, I learned the concept of teamwork and activities such as walking across a log suspended 20 feet in the air and having to totally rely on my classmates for support. With the help of Mr. R, Dr. P, and Miss Wright, I discovered many things about myself that I never knew before. Finally, I reached 8th grade. This year, my box did not seem to throw any curveballs at me. Although the 8th grade was completely different from the rest of my years at charter, I still managed to fall into the rhythm quickly. This has been my favorite year at charter. The projects were always engaging, and I've enjoyed building our memorial models and roller coasters. The highlight of 8th grade was our trip to Washington, D.C. Seeing so many memorials and monuments that I've only seen in pictures was amazing, and in between meeting Seth Moulton, our Massachusetts congressman, and running around my hotel room at night, Washington, D.C. was one of the best things I grabbed from my box of chocolates. Throughout my time at charter, I always had a love for music. With the help of Miss Smith, I learned how to play the flute and even auditioned for the honors band, to which I was accepted after 2 tries. I performed piano pieces for music morning and learned new songs in music class. This year for my math bowl, I even wrote a piano book. My box of chocolates always presented me with opportunities to learn new instruments and to excel. All that said, I never really knew what to expect from my box of chocolates, so I'd like to thank my parents for guiding me through the unforeseen contents of my box and for always pressuring me to doing my best. I'd also like to thank my friends for always being there for me through thick and thin and never hesitating to lend me a shoulder to lean on. Thank you for creating great memories with me. Thank you to Miss Miller and Miss McGuire for always pushing me to do my best. Thank you to Miss Wright for teaching me to use my common sense and for encouraging me to work hard. Thank you, Mr. McDonough, for always being available for a conversation and for always willing to help me with my schoolwork whenever I needed it. Thank you, Senora Latusky, for helping me learn Spanish and assisting me in improving my Spanish vocabulary and grammar. Thank you, Ms. Goslin, for teaching me to find poetry in everything. Thank you, Mr. Curcione, for being a dedicated play director and putting on great shows and helping me enhance my abilities in stage makeup. Thank you, Ms. Nunez, for being there for me when I needed a helping hand or advice. Thank you, Ms. Smith, for encouraging me and helping me in band and for my math bowl, and for helping me learn and accelerate in music. And finally, thank you to Ms. Lodgen and Ms. Hale for creating an unforgettable 8th grade year for me. Now I pick out the last few chocolates from my charter box and leave for high school. There I will be handed a totally new box of chocolates, full of the unexpected, because life is like a box of chocolates and you never know what you're gonna get.
And last, they have prepared some songs for you. They will perform them at graduation, and they'd like for you to enjoy them now. And that's what a charter education will produce. Well done, you guys. If you want to hear more from them, please stick around. They're going to present more of their hooks. If you kids like it here, check out the Charter Adventure, what we're doing over the summer. Got a lot of good things going on. We're running a little overtime, so how about another big round of applause and everybody enjoy the night. Thank you for being here.